Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be revisiting my favorite makeup from 2021. I know everyone is posting these right now and I think it's fun to go back and try products that you loved a year ago and see if you still love them and kind of update you on my thoughts on those things. So that's what we're going to do today. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty and makeup content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I am posting every day in December, so I hope you'll subscribe if you have not already. And let's go ahead and get into it. All right, I'm gonna do this a little bit differently than I've seen kind of going around. I personally like to see products applied when I do these types of videos, so I'm gonna go through and apply the makeup. Obviously, in a lot of the categories, I have more than one thing, so I'll only use one, but I'll update you on the other choices as well. First, for brows, my favorite brow product was this one, the Patrick Ta Brow Wax. So this was my absolute favorite all of 2021 pretty much, and I still like it. I have to say this is not my absolute favorite anymore. I still like this. I don't really go at the moment for brow soap as much. I like more of like the Brow Lift from e.l.f. or the Anastasia Brow Freeze. That's kind of been what I've been going for lately. But I do still think this is a great brow soap. But I don't know that I would say it's my favorite now. But I like it. I do think I liked the clear version of this more. And it could be that because I have the tinted version, I'm just not reaching for it as much. Also, my favorites for 2022 will be coming up, and I'm gonna do two separate videos. I'm gonna do a drugstore and a high-end video. Okay, my other two brow products that were favorites were the Micro Brow and the Lift and Snatch, both from NYX. I'm not gonna apply these right now. I'm gonna do the rest of the makeup, but I figured while we're on brows, we'll touch on these. These, I would say, have been dethroned for sure. I still really like them. Mainly the Micro Brow. If you've been around, you know I've fallen in love with another brow pencil that is much more, or not much more, but it's more affordable than this one. And I definitely don't reach for this one as much. So I would not say this is a favorite anymore. And I like the Lift and Snatch. I have not been as into brow pens this year though. So I don't know that I would say this is like a favorite brow product right now. So I do think my brow product preferences have shifted a bit. Also, one thing to note is I did not mention any primers in the 2021 favorites, which if you've been following my channel for the last year, you would know that I've been experimenting with primers much more in the last year. So I definitely have some thoughts and some favorites in terms of primers now, but I didn't have any at the time last year. So we will skip primer. For a corrector, now this is interesting. The only corrector that I said was a favorite was this, the Milani Supercharged Under Eye Brightening Tint in the shade Peach. I still like this product. This is more of a like no makeup type product, or like I just need to run out the door and I need to do something with my under eyes, but I don't have time to do a whole lot kind of product. I still like it. It is like, I would say, a more affordable version of the Color Science Total Eye. It's a much, much more affordable version of that. And I still like this. I don't know that I would say it's a favorite though, because it does not give much coverage at all. So this is a product I only really use for a certain purpose when I need to do something really quick and just kind of lightly even out under my eyes. This is what I would reach for. But I've also discovered quite a few new correcting products that I would probably go for over this one, but I do still like it. I still own it. But I don't think I would say this is like an absolute favorite for me. It's kind of like an eye cream with a bit of a tint to it, in my opinion, which is how I would describe that Color Science product. But it's really nice if you just need to apply something really quick. It's just not like a full face of makeup kind of product. For foundations, I mentioned 3, and I still have all 3, so I obviously still like them. The first was the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. Then we had the Dermablend CC Cream and the Dior Backstage Face and Body. I would say I still like all of these. I would say in terms of a drugstore product, this would not be my go-to anymore. I've tried so many drugstore products in the last year that are similar to this that I like a little bit more. I still think this is nice, but it's not a favorite for me. And the same kind of goes for Dermablend. I loved this and I still like it. I definitely have other foundations though that I go for much more than this now. This is a very, very full coverage product. So I would say I don't know. I would say I like it still, but it's not a favorite. And then I still really love the Dior Backstage Face and Body. This is shade 1.5 neutral. I would say of the 3, this is the one that I use the most of these 3. So overall though, I would say all 3 of these have been dethroned in the last year. But today I'm gonna go ahead and use Dior Face and Body. This is a beautiful foundation though. And this is also a really good foundation for if you need your makeup to last a long time. This is a very, very long wearing foundation. And I would say it's like a natural finish. It does have the really strong Dior fragrance, which is not always my favorite, but this is a beautiful product. I would say this foundation will give you a medium coverage at the most. It's definitely not a full coverage product. You can build it up a little bit, but I do think it's a pretty solid medium coverage. It's a really good like event foundation, I would say. It's very skin-like, and I mean, it looks truly like your skin, just a more evened out version. Okay, moving on to concealers. Again, I had 3 of them. The first is the Hourglass Vanish Concealer, then the NYX Bear With Me Serum Concealer, and the One Size Turn Up the Base Butter Silk Concealer. Honestly, you guys, I don't love this one anymore. It's okay, but I never find myself wanting to use this one, and I honestly think this is supposed to be a neutral shade. This is light number 3 that I have. To me, this is a very warm shade to be considered a neutral, and I don't typically love something super warm under my eyes. So I'm thinking that's kind of what has caused me to not reach for this as much. I think it's a nice concealer, but it is not a favorite anymore. This one is absolutely still a favorite. I think this is the best drugstore concealer, period. I think this is the best. I love it. I loved it then. I still love it now. And the Hourglass, I still love the Hourglass concealer. I have been reaching for other things this year. I wouldn't say this is my top favorite anymore, but it is still a favorite for sure. I'm thinking I want to use this one today because I'm just in an Hourglass mood. I wear the shade Cedar, and I also have always loved this concealer because it is a spot on shade match for me. You don't need a lot of it. A little bit definitely goes a long way. I'm gonna add a little bit to my face. I love when I find a concealer, and I think that's one of the reasons I loved this, that works under my eyes really well, but also works on my face, and that's how I feel about this shade of concealer. So I'm gonna blend first into my face with that same brush. This is the Smashbox Blurring Foundation brush, and you can see like that Hourglass concealer gives amazing coverage, amazing coverage. And then I'm gonna use a different brush for under the eyes. I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 110. I was actually thinking just the other day, I was in Sephora and I was looking at Hourglass stuff, and I was looking at the different shades I was thinking about getting one of the shades, I forget what the name of it is. I think it might be Silk. That is a pink undertone, and I kind of wanted to get it and try it under my eyes since this year has been the year of pink undertone concealers under my eyes for me. So I was thinking about getting that and trying it out. So I may end up doing that at some point, but this is still definitely a good one. For bronzers, I mentioned 4 of them, so I do still own all 4. So I still like them. The first is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Stick in the shade Light. This is definitely still a favorite. I love this. This is such a great color for me also. This is shade Light. I love it. It's kind of dries down to more of like a powdery matte finish, but I really enjoy it and I still use this. So that is a definite favorite. The Hollywood Contour Wand from Charlotte Tilbury. I still like this. I don't know that I love it as much as I did last year though. I think in the last year I found some things that I reach for a bit more at this point. So I like this now, but I don't know that I would say this is my absolute favorite. Same goes for this one, the Patrick Ta Cream Contour and Bronzer Duo. So I still like this, but again, I don't reach for this as much as some of my other bronzing products. So I still love it. I would always keep it for sure, but I do think this has been dethroned. And then the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. Now this one I still really love. I would still say that this is a favorite. I think this is a great drugstore cream bronzer. Let's go Patrick Ta. Y'all know me. I love Patrick Ta. Okay, I'm gonna use the 109 from BK Beauty. And this is the shade She's Sculpted. Honestly, I think I could have gotten the lighter shade in this and I might have used it a little bit more. I think this, depending on how fair I am at the time, can be a little bit dark, but I do still like it. It's very pretty. When I have used this in the last year, I would say, I mainly use the cream in here. I don't use the powder as much. I'm not really sure why, but I have noticed that I seem to gravitate towards the cream. I think it, again, might be the shade. I'm gonna get what's left on the brush and take this along my hairline. I mean, it is a really good product though, you guys. The formula is amazing. The formula is like the cream blushes, which if you know me, you know that I love those. I'm then gonna take a sponge that is barely damp and just kind of go around and blend the edges. And then I think I will apply a little bit of the powder bronzer as well, just like a little bit. So I'm gonna get some of the powder on the 111 from BK Beauty, and I'm just gonna lightly tap a little bit of this on. For blushes, you guys, all of these I still love. One of them I don't use as much. The other 3 I still use all the time. So obviously I said Patrick Ta, She's That Girl. And this is still an absolute favorite. If you saw my top 10 blushes and ranking, you will know how much I still love and use that one. So that has not changed. I also put the blush palette, the original blush palette from Patrick Ta, which is, gosh, I love this. I personally like the version from this year as well. I know a lot of people did not like it. I love both, but anyway, this is the one from last year, and yes, this is still beautiful. I will say I reach for my singles. Like, I reach for She's That Girl more than this, but I mean, come on, if you're a Patrick Ta fan and you have this, then you know. Someone told me that these were now going on eBay and Poshmark for like $200, which is insane to me, but I can see why. I wish they would have re-released. that palette again. Then I had the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush Stick in Dusty Rose. This was also part of my recent blush video, and it is still a favorite. Absolutely love this color. So, so good. And then the one that I don't use as much, but I do still like, is the Clinique Nude Pop. This is the Cheek Pop blush. And the main reason for that is I typically use this as like a blush topper. I will usually put this on over a cream blush, and I've also discovered quite a few other blush toppers in the last year. So I don't use this one as much as I was using it, but I do still love it. I would definitely not get rid of it. So that is also a really good one. So blushes, I have not changed a whole lot. You know I have to use a Patrick Ta blush. I'm not going to use She's That Girl because Lord knows I've used that blush so many times in videos. Let's use She's Baked. Is that what this is? Yeah, She's Baked up here. This is a very pretty, it's a deeper blush. So you definitely, if you're around my skin tone, you do have to be a little bit light-handed with it. I'm going to actually do the powder first. So I'm gonna get a little bit of the powder on the brush. Very pigmented, so you do not need a lot. In fact, I'm tapping this off in my hand before I'm going on my face with this because I know these are super pigmented. If you want these blushes, he does now sell them individually, so you can get them, you just can't get the palette. His blushes are very easy to tone down. You can literally just take a sponge or a foundation brush and very easily just kind of tap over it a little bit. Right now I'm just tapping a little bit of the cream. This is definitely more of a palette for deeper skin tones though, which is why I wish they would have just done both this year. I think that would have been better. I am now gonna take my foundation brush and I'm gonna go over that just a little bit, just to tone it down a little, because for my complexion, these colors in this palette are definitely on the deep side, so you just have to be kind of mindful of that, but you can definitely work with them. Okay, for powders, I had two. The first was Kosas Cloud Set. Absolutely 100% still a favorite. I love this so much. I use the shade Breezy and I just love it. Absolutely love. And then the other one I mentioned was the number 7 Lift and Luminate. This one is still something I like. I definitely don't reach for it as much as I was before, but I'm not really sure why, because I know I like this a lot. This is more of a mattifying and smoothing powder, whereas this one does set down your face, but you keep a lot more glow with this powder, which is why I think I reach for that one a bit more. But this one is also very good if you're more concerned with smoothing out texture or mattifying your face. This is still a really great powder, very similar to Charlotte Tilbury, the Airbrush powder. Today I'm gonna go Kosas because I just love it. It's just a favorite. I mean, I can just see, I have a mirror over this way, which is why I'm always looking this direction. And it's not super far from me, but it's not like right up in my face. And I can literally see, like, the second I just put that Kosas powder there, I could see my pores just like smooth over. It's just, I don't know. Somehow it manages to do that without taking all the glow from your face. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my brows. I'm gonna use the micro brow that I mentioned earlier from NYX. I don't know if I'm gonna use the Lift and Snatch or not. I might if I feel like it, but I'm probably just gonna stick with this. I'll just speed through this because y'all see me do this all the time. All right, I had two favorite eyeshadow palettes and they are still definitely favorites. The first is the ultimate favorite, and it's this one. You already know, the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. I just talked this thing into the ground because I just love it. I love it. If you know me, you know I love this palette. I have to force myself not to use this. And then the other palette was the Sigma Cinderella palette. I definitely don't use this one as much as the Patrick Ta palette because it's very colorful. So I really only use this for like specific purposes, but this is such a beautiful palette. It's so different from anything else that I have. And I don't know that I would say it's a favorite just because I don't use it as often, but it is still a beautiful palette and I'm still very happy to own it. I'm going to use the Sigma palette, the Cinderella. I know a lot of you are yelling, Blair, please do not use that Patrick Ta palette again. All right, I'm going to take Pumpkin, which is the warmer brown shade in this palette, and I'm going to apply this as a crease shade. I did apply a little bit of MAC Painterly also in on my eyes. Okay, I'm gonna take a fluffier brush. I was using the brush that comes with this palette, and I used the fluffy end of it to apply this, but the fluffy end of it is still a little bit stiff for a crease shade to me, so I'm gonna go over it with a fluffier brush. This one's from Morphe. Now I'm gonna take this shade, which is Dressmakers. It's kind of a rose gold. It's really pretty though. And I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna apply this all over the lid, all the way to the inner corner and out. I actually love the Sigma eyeshadow formula. I have 4 of their palettes and I really, really love them. There's that, and then I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush. I guess we'll just do this shade, which is Cinders. It's kind of a reddish brick brown, and this is the 211 from BK Beauty, and I'm just gonna tap this in the very outer corner. One thing I love about this palette that is different for me in terms of my other palettes is you can do a very neutral eye look like what I'm doing right now, but you get so many other pretty color shades. You have blue, you have green, you have purple, black. This is just such a unique color story. I love it. Okay. And let's see, what else should we do? I might take a little bit of the purple, so this deep dark matte purple, and I think I might actually line my eyes with this, but I'm gonna spray the brush first. I'm gonna use the 208 from BK Beauty, and I'm gonna go into that dark purple, and I'm gonna use this as eyeliner because I did not include any eyeliners in my favorites last year, so we'll use this shadow as liner. And then I'm gonna take the same shade we used in the crease, and I'm just gonna switch to a very small little tiny brush and just lightly apply that on the lower lash line. I'm gonna take this shade, it's the really light champagne shimmer called Wishful, and I'm gonna use a 209 from BK Beauty and pop that right there. That is a really, really beautiful inner corner highlight. All right, for mascara, my only favorite from last year was the Rare Beauty Perfect Strokes mascara. I do not own that one anymore, only because I used it up and I have tons of mascaras, so I haven't repurchased it, but I do still love that mascara. I think it's one of the best high-end mascaras I've tried. I do really love it. I don't have it to use it, so I'm just going to use what I have sitting here, the Telescopic Lift Mascara in Black Brown. But what I will say is I definitely think, especially this year, I have discovered so many amazing drugstore mascaras that I believe even more so that you can really save on mascara and buy something more affordable and still get a really beautiful result.
Sir, don't you want my tree?
Last, for lips, I had one lip liner, and it was the LA Girl Perfect Precision, yeah, lip liner in the shade Cafe. This is a great lip liner. I don't use this very much anymore, so I don't think I would say this is a favorite, but it's pretty. It's a really great, affordable lip liner. Oh gosh, now I'm about to use it and fall back in love with it probably. In my opinion, this formula is identical to MAC lip pencils. I honestly think this one is even just a little bit creamier. Oh, it's a good color though. Yeah, I'm actually glad I used this again because I kind of forgot how pretty this color is. So again, that's Cafe. This formula though is very good. I want to say these are like $2.99 and they're very good. Okay, and then the lip product that I mentioned, the Dior Lip Maximizers. And yes, this is absolutely still a favorite. I just love these. I love them so much. I would say this is still my favorite lip gloss of all of them. I have so many. I have beige, pink, nude shimmer, and cherry. Let's see, what should we go for? I think I'm gonna go beige today. Oh yeah, so it's like a milky, beigey nude. Wow, that's a pretty lip combo. I've never put those two together. All right, you guys. Oh, and the last thing, I had one favorite setting spray, and it was this one, the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I would say this has been dethroned. I have definitely discovered others that I use more than this, but I do really like this still. I love the smell of this. I think I've mentioned that before. I don't know what it is. It has papaya, cucumber, grapeseed extract. I don't know what it is that I smell, but I love the scent of this. All right, you guys, that is gonna be it for this video. This was so much fun. I am surprised at how many of these things I have kind of replaced, I would say. Yeah, I love how this makeup turned out. So I'm very happy with the product still. I just, you know, your tastes change and you try new things, you discover new things, but overall, these are still very good products that I recommend. So I hope you enjoyed. If you're looking for my favorites from 2022, it will be coming soon, a drugstore video and a high-end version as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will have everything listed and linked below as always. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you next time for another video. Remember, simply be you. Bye.